What is going on, sports fans? Happy Friday! A very, very fun Friday on the show, December 22nd, 2023. 3 days until Santa Claus comes to town, and our very last show of the week before the holiday. You're listening to The Gabby Gordon Show. As always, my name is Gabby Gordon. Blessed to have you here to talk sports with me today, because every day is a great day to talk some sports. I can't believe we've been through a full week of sports already. I feel like Tuesday's show was just yesterday. So much has happened in the media. A biggest sports story out there going into today is, of course, Yamamoto finally made his decision. He signed with the Dodgers. It was announced last night. 12 years, $325 million. We'll get more into detail with that after this little intro, because there is a lot to talk about there. There's a lot of strings attached that we got to kind of point upon. What kind of happened with the Yankees, who seemed like they were going to land him. Even some reports as such from some members of the Pat McAfee show. That's a different story. I don't even know what went on there. I would love to see what Pat has to say about that, but we'll get all into that in just a moment. I don't know if you could tell my voice. I'm a little under the weather, a little congested. I feel like there's just something in the air, and I haven't been in WFAN studios, so I really don't know what's going on. Everybody there is sick. I feel like everybody's getting sick. Perfect time for the holidays, right? There's an ongoing joke in my family. On Christmas Eve, we always go to the cousin's house. It's been a tradition for years, but every single year, it seems, and there's 4 people in my immediate household. All right, it's my parents, and then I have a younger brother. And it seems every single year that none of us can all make it. It's never the case that all 4 of us are with the cousins on Christmas Eve for their Christmas Eve party. There's always somebody who has to stay home because they have a fever, or they're sick, or they're not feeling well, or something else happened. And it's like a rotation. One year it's my mom, then it's me, then it's my brother, then it's my dad. I don't even know who's due up next in the lineup, but especially with this time of year, everybody's sick. There's some weird virus going around where people are just knocked down and knocked out, and you just got to let it pass. So I'm really praying and hoping. We're 2 days from Christmas Eve, folks. We're 2 days. So I got to get this congestion under control. Hopefully we can all make it to the Christmas Eve party, and I'll let you know how that goes on Tuesday's show. I'll let you know if all 4 of us were able to attend. But yeah, some crazy stuff in baseball with Yamamoto, and I got a lot to say about it. Personally, I think he was always going to go to the Dodgers, especially after Ohtani kind of swooped in and offered some of his influence. Obviously, they have some sort of connection. We'll get to the Rams-Saints recap, which Ohtani was actually at that game. It was reported that Yamamoto was going to be joining Ohtani, but that, of course, did not end up happening. Some false reporting there, but Rams took that win, and the Rams odds looking pretty good. The Saints, not so much, so we'll get into that. We've got some other news. It is a fun Friday, the last show of the week, and the last show before Christmas. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Gabby Gordon Show. My name is Gabby Gordon. Delighted to have you joining me on this wonderful Friday evening. So, Yamamoto signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That team is the powerhouse of the league now, with Ohtani and Yamamoto and all the other stars they have. However, last night, before it was known, there was some speculation that he was potentially a lock to join the New York Yankees. Aaron Boone met with him. We'll get into that meeting. He gave him a jersey, number 18. It was his to keep. And so I'm looking on Twitter, and my dad sent me this tweet from Ty Schmidt from the Pat McAfee show. 7:27 p.m. last night. It says, hearing from very reliable sources, that Yamamoto to the Yankees is done. 9 years, $326 million. Being told Godzilla Matsui helped push it over the goal line. Yoshi keeps the number 18 jersey. That's great reporting, Ty. That's real great. And the comments were crazy. I mean, Pat McAfee responds to that with, This is the new face of baseball, Jeff Passan. Deal with it. I don't know if he was trolling or what, but people are not happy that was reported. People are not happy. Okay, and reading this before the news came out about Yamamoto, I'm sitting here like, there's no way this has been reported. No one has confirmed this. It's been 15 minutes without some other analyst, some other reporter reporting this. There's no way it's true. And it wasn't. Because now, if you go on Twitter and you look right below the tweet, Twitter gives like a little fact check bubble when it can't, when a source isn't totally reliable. And there's a little bubble right under Ty Schmidt's tweet, and it says, readers added context that they thought people might want to know. What might I want to know? That Yoshinobu Yamamoto signing a 12-year deal, $325 million contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers, according to Jeff Passan and Jack Curry. Schmidt, man. Ty Schmidt. Your legacy is done, dude. Now, if it turns out he was just trolling, while it's a really cruel joke, I can understand. They like to play around over there. I get it. But what I read this, I'm like, there's no way that Ty Schmidt's the first one to get onto this. And sure enough, he wasn't. Because he wasn't right. See, but that's the thing. Reading that, it did seem a little bit truthful that he could end up with the Yankees. Because Aaron Boone met with Yamamoto, and then they had a really nice conversation, it seemed. So if there was any question about how strongly he wanted to be in the big spotlight, it was answered for Aaron Boone. Early in their first meeting, he actually asked for a scouting report on the Yankees' most formidable competitors. Boone said, quote, we talked about some different rivalries, what the stadium's like in a playoff environment, or for big regular season games against the Red Sox. We opened the regular season in Houston, so we talked about those things, and you can see those competition things kind of light him up a little bit. End quote. Apparently not enough to sway his decision, because shortly after he agreed to a 12-year, $325 million contract with the Dodgers last night, and he joined Shohei Ohtani in LA. It was reported that the Yankees offered him $300 million. The Dodgers matched an offer made by the Mets, so $325, and the Blue Jays, Giants, Phillies, and Red Sox also had interest. It's not totally said if they offered anything. Here's my question. And I've heard this on a couple of other talk shows this morning, especially in the case of the New York Mets, who missed out on Shohei, missed out on Juan Soto, so the two biggest names probably of this offseason free agency, now had a chance to go after Yamamoto, right? And they were in the running. Steve Cohen has a ton of money. He's the most rich owner in the league. And he flew his jet out to Japan to meet with Yamamoto and still couldn't make the bid work in his favor. And it says that he matched the offers made by the Dodgers. He matched their offer of $325 million. If it's me, I know Yamamoto is not coming to Queens if the Dodgers are offering the exact same thing that I am. He's, of course, going to pick LA with Shohei Ohtani if I can't outbid them. So in that case, the Mets should have been offering at least $350. And then Yamamoto says, well, okay, Dodgers, are you going to match that? And Steve Cohen has the money. Let's not be fooled here, folks. Steve Cohen has the money to outbid these teams. So it brings me to the slight conclusion that maybe the Yankees and the Mets were kind of decoys, and Yamamoto used them so that he can get the Dodgers up to the number he wanted. I think it was always the Dodgers all along. LA, with Shohei Ohtani on the roster, and all the other stars they have, and the success they have. I think the agency of Yamamoto kind of said, maybe we can use the Yankees and Mets here, make it look like we're a little interested, see what they offer, and then get the Dodgers to up one on them. Get our number up to what we want. Right? Because if the Yankees topped off at $300 million, and the Mets topped off at $325, and the Dodgers matched that $325, and of course, I don't know what went on with the Blue Jays, Giants, Phillies, Red Sox, and all other teams that may have had interest, because it seemed like those three, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, were really the front runners there. It seems to me that maybe the Yankees and Mets were kind of played. That's just a thought. Because again, if I'm Steve Cohen, I'm offering a lot of money that the Dodgers can't match, so that Yamamoto has no choice but to pick us. And I don't say us, I'm not a Mets fan, I'm just putting myself in the shoes of Steve Cohen. I don't think he had many intentions of winning that bid. So I don't really know. I think that the Yankees and Mets may have been used in this situation just a tad bit. And the Yankees only going up to $300 million. They could have done more. Maybe at some certain point they're like, okay, we're probably not going to win this race. Let's focus on signing some other guys. Now it's time, maybe target Blake Snell, guys of that sort, right? But I think the Dodgers were truly, truly the front runners on a whole different level with Yamamoto. And I think the Yankees and Mets might have been a little bit of a decoy to kind of get the Dodgers up to the number that they wanted. So like I just mentioned, now that the Yankees obviously don't have Yamamoto, they could transfer their attention to maybe making a reunion with Jordan Montgomery or Frankie Montas. Could even work out a trade for the Brewers' Corbin Burns. There's a lot of options still, and the offseason is far from over. So there's a lot of options for this Yankees team that has been pretty active. Now, the fact that we'll actually get to see Yamamoto and Ohtani and the Dodgers visit Yankee Stadium, that's a 3-game series from June 7th to June 9th this upcoming season. That'll be a fun one. One that I honestly want to attend in person. I want to see these guys compete. I want to see Juan Soto in person. I want to see Ohtani. And I want to see Yamamoto. And I want to see what the Yankees can put up. But I don't really think that we have to worry about the Dodgers until October. Because that's when it's going to matter. And could you imagine if the Dodgers just a complete bust? Can you imagine if Yamamoto just completely falls off the trails? Just completely, and he's just terrible? ERA is like 8. Could you imagine that? That would be a story. $325 million over 12 years for a guy that's never thrown a pitch in the major leagues. And they think he's special. And now he's got to prove that he is. Speaking of the Yankees, Alex Verdugo used the phrase fresh start 4 times when he described his upcoming opportunity with the Yankees. He's already got his clean-shaven face, the beard is gone, and everything he said in this 2-minute video on MLB.com makes me think this guy is going to be a huge positive impact for the Yankees. I will be the first to tell you, I never liked Alex Verdugo. Probably because he was on the Red Sox. Something about him just didn't sit right with me in previous years. But hearing how he speaks, hearing his mentality, hearing his ideas of how he can contribute to this offense and defense, he's a great fielder, great outfielder. I'm really excited. I am really excited. This is a 2-minute video of him speaking, and I am just going to play the entire 2-minute video because everything he says in here is golden and makes me so excited to see how he plays.
I need to kind of be out there with Judge, be out there with Soto, man. I think they obviously handle the power side of it, you know what I mean? And I want to handle the getting on base for them, the, saving runs and helping any way I can out there. So I think for me, it's just going to be, a lot of kind of just picking their brains, man. I want to talk to these guys that have proven that they're, superstars and just consistently they go out there and do it every day. So I want to talk to them, see what they're kind of just what their routine is, what they do, like just to how they kind of live to make sure they sustain that. And I think the older I get, it's like I said, the pieces of the puzzle are all coming together. You know what I mean? And I just feel like having some more stability is something that I needed. And, having a couple-year deal where you're solidified is going to kind of really help that. For me, it was just getting a house. Like, I finally moved into a home. I have all my stuff here. I have my training, like my facility I go to, and it just feels like I'm in a much better space mentally, physically, and I'm very excited. It's part of that rivalry, right? You know what I mean? So we kind of you feed into it. As I was with the Red Sox, I just fed into it. You really take that, take it to heart, and I feel like it's a little bit of a switch up, but I'm very excited to bring that same energy but towards Red Sox now. And it's kind of the mindset in New York, how people talk, they're a little bit more aggressive and they're kind of straight to the point. It's like, I like that, man. I enjoy it. And, I think when they see me play every day and they see me bust my butt and work hard and, I think they'll like what they see.
There is not a single thing there that he said that made me think, maybe this was the wrong move. Maybe this was the wrong move. And my immediate thought when Verdugo was announced to be a New York Yankee was that maybe he was just going to be a kind of like a quick little thing there where they have him and they acquire him and then they send him somewhere else for someone else better. And I was kind of hoping that at first because, again, I for some reason never liked him. I'm really glad he's here now, though. Verdugo actually said that when he first heard about the trade, his genuine reaction was he was pretty angry. He was hot about it. And then he said, quote, I was just like, man, they really sent me to the rivals, the Yankees? It said it took him about a day to cool off. He reflected on a pretty disappointing Red Sox 2023 season. His stats, too, disappointing. And, of course, the Red Sox finished last in the AL East. But then Verdugo said he started receiving messages welcoming him to the team from guys like Judge, Cole, Rizzo. Pretty exciting when those guys reach out to you. Now you've got their connections. And he said he was ready to begin the next chapter in his career. He said it got him very excited. And he shaved right away just so he could feel like he's in it. He says he works out every day in the Yankees hat. He said it feels good and it looks good and that the fresh start feels good. Alex Verdugo, welcome to the New York Yankees. I'm so excited to see this guy and what he has to bring because he's made such a good point too. And I've always said this as a Yankee fan. The Yankees have often been too concerned about the big home run hitters. Home run or nothing. They're known as the Bronx Bombers for a reason, right? But you do need some guys who can contribute to the occasional single-double that gets those big hitter guys around the field, around the bases, and scoring. And Verdugo can be that guy. And he said that. And that was a really good point he made because it makes me think that he's thinking about how he can contribute to complement the stars we already have on the Yankees. And that's special because a lot of guys try and prove themselves. How can I make a difference myself? How can I prove that I belong here? Verdugo didn't say that. He said, how can I prove that I belong in this lineup with these people? How can I compliment my teammates in this lineup and on this team? And I really liked how he said it like that. Now, before the break, I just want to take a moment of silence for the San Francisco Giants, who have now missed out not only on Aaron Judge, Arson Judge, but Ohtani, Verdugo, Soto, and Yamamoto. Let's take a moment of silence. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Gabby Gordon Show. My name's Gabby Gordon. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Last segment, we talked a lot about Yamamoto, his signing with the Dodgers, the Yankees, Alex Verdugo, and a moment of silence for the San Fran Giants, who just can't land anybody. And if I do remember correctly, and look, I'm never one to say, I told you so. I hate the people who do that. I really do hate the people who do that. But I do remember saying, I think so, on Wednesday's show, that this for the Giants, that this for the Yankees and Yamamoto sweepstakes was going to be like an Arson Judge situation on the other end of the stick. And if you're saying, Gabby, what the heck are you talking about? I don't even know what that means. Well, first you need to know what Arson Judge is or what I'm talking about there, and you could go to a previous episode, or you can just look it up online. But when the world thought that the Giants had stolen Aaron Judge from the Yankees, John Heyman made a tweet saying, Arson Judge, it was a typo of course, appears headed to Giants. And the world thought the Yankees lost him. But in the split second, and right at the end of the sweepstakes, the Yankees held on, re-signed Judge. The rest is history. So now you have it at the other end of the stick where the world thought the Yankees could potentially be the front runner. The Yankees were confident in their pursuit of Yamamoto, their recruitment of him, the meeting with Boone, the jersey handoff of number 18 to Yamamoto. And what happens? Yamamoto signs with the Dodgers. And in the end, the Yankees failed. In the sweepstakes, last minute, boom. And I tweeted last night, I said, what did I tell y'all? I said this exact thing would happen on yesterday's podcast. So again, don't want to say I told you so, because I don't like people who do that. I like to remain humble. I think I had a good take, that's all. And I was right. Okay? Just saying I was right. That's all. So yeah, enough talk about the Yamamoto thing. I'm honestly glad it's over. It was a long, drawn-out thing for so many weeks. Felt like it was the head news line, the header for every single big MLB story. I feel like every single day we were saying something new about this guy, about his traveling to all these different cities to meet with these owners, when I think in all actuality he was going to be a Dodger. And he used these other teams to kind of get that number up. I think that's how it went. Could be wrong. I just hope he's good. Because how embarrassing would that be? I'm kind of glad the Yankees didn't take a chance on him, because let's remember he has never thrown a pitch in the major leagues yet. To be worth $325 million over 12 years, that's like the bulk of this kid's career on the Dodgers. I'm sure there's some opt-outs and whatnot. But what if he turns out to be awful? Man, that would be the story of the decade. Yamamoto signs $325 million and his ERA is at 12. We're done with that. He signed, story's over, and now we wait to see him play in an MLB game. You know whose story isn't quite over? The Los Angeles Rams, man. They came in and they did business at SoFi Stadium against the Saints last night. The players are off until Tuesday now. Sean McVay gave them off. They spend the entire Christmas holiday with their families, coming off of a big win. They're feeling good. Matt Stafford's feeling great. He passed for 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rookie Puka Nacua had 9 catches for a career-high 164 yards and a touchdown. I forget that Puka Nacua is just a rookie. Seems like he's been there forever. And the Rams just absolutely surged forward in that race for a postseason berth. They won 30-22 over the Saints. Kyron Williams rushed for 104 yards and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson with the game of his career. I feel like every other pass was to him. Constantly calling out his name. Added 82 yards receiving and another score for the Rams, who are now 8-7. They're above 500 for the first time since week 1. After sitting at 3-6 in their bye week last month. Talk about a turnaround. They're now 5-3 at home. Again, 8-7 overall. Stafford said, quote, "We earned the opportunity to be at this point, in my opinion. We've had stakes since the bye, so I'm just proud of the way these guys have put their head down, gone to work, and shown up." Derek Carr was a little shaky. He threw a touchdown pass to Juwan Johnson and A.T. Perry in the fourth quarter. They also converted a 2-point conversion, which trimmed the lead to 8 points. And there was 3 minutes, 53 seconds left to play at that point, but then Puka Nacua recovered an onside kick. They got a key first down on a 9-yard jet sweep, and the Rams ran out the clock and made it to another W. McVay said, "We make it interesting, don't we? We sure make it interesting, but I love the resilience of this group. They just continue to show up. I thought there was a lot of really good stuff throughout the course of this game." Carr passed for 319 yards and hit Rashid Shaheed for an early 45-yard touchdown for the Saints, who are now 7-8. Drew Brees was actually at that game in the box up at the stadium, and they showed his reaction after that 45-yard touchdown pass to Shaheed, and he said, "I love it. I love it." I mean, it's just, I don't know if that's exactly what he said, but reading his lips, he said, "I love it." I don't think he loved the outcome of the game, but there was a painfully slow start to their offense and 458 yards allowed by their defense. Dennis Allen, their coach, acknowledged and was confused at times by some of McVay's offensive decisions. And so this loss really hurts New Orleans. But they are still in serious contention for a playoff spot and the NFC South title because it finishes the season with 2 games against division opponents, starting with Tampa Bay on New Year's Eve. So they're not completely counted out. Does it look as good as it did before this game? Of course not. But we can't completely write them off. And you just can't get him out of the spotlight. Shohei Ohtani attended the game. He greeted players on the sideline about an hour before kickoff and got a number 17 Rams jersey. He's now going to be playing his home games about 13 miles from SoFi Stadium. That's pretty cool. There's a video going around of him on the sidelines with his agent, and he's got a football in his hand. And he's just holding this thing, and he's looking at it like it's some foreign object. And all I'm thinking while I'm watching this video is, come on, just whip it 75 yards downfield right now. I feel like he can do anything. He can just drop back. I feel like he would be a natural with the rock. Just throwing that rock 75 yards downfield, I was waiting for it. All I could think about watching that video is, come on, Shohei. Come on, man. Come on, Shohei. Drop back, pass, in the breadbasket, touchdown. Oh, man, that'd be great. But he really looked at it like he'd never seen a football before, which was kind of funny. And even then, I feel like he could still throw it 75 yards. He's just a freak of nature. It was very big for the Saints to have Chris Olave back. It seemed like he was the number 1 receiver. I feel like his name was called every single time Derek Carr had a completion. He finished with 9 receptions for 123 yards. At the end of the day, of course, the Rams were too much for the Saints to handle at SoFi, and 30-22 was your final score on Thursday Night Football. We've got 2 games on the schedule for tomorrow. Bengals and Steelers at 4:30 p.m. and Bills-Chargers at 8 p.m. Both pretty good matchups, actually. I look at these teams and I'm like, these are both fun games to watch, I think. Taking a look at Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, both teams need this win. Again, a must-win for both sides to stay in this AFC wildcard race. The Steelers won the last game against the Bengals. That was actually quarterback Jake Browning's first start after Joe Burrow was declared out for the season. And since that, Jake Browning has settled in so much better. They've won 3 straight games. Their offense has looked pretty good for the most part of that stretch. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has seen sort of an implosion on their side. Kenny Pickett struggled after the Bengals game earlier in the season before he got injured. And then they had Mason Rudolph as his replacement, who struggled. And now Mason Rudolph will be starting this game. So how should we view this game? Who's got the upside? Well, according to CincyJungle.com and DraftKings Sportsbook, the Bengals are currently 2-point road favorites against the Steelers. The point total is set at 38, and that is the 4th lowest point total in Week 16. And these are 2 teams on 2 different trajectories at this point in the season. The Steelers have suffered recent losses to the Cardinals, Patriots, tough losses, as well as a stomping from the Indianapolis Colts. So 2 of those teams are going to be picking pretty early in the draft. So those losses look pretty bad on the Steelers' schedule. 2 games there that should have been wins and would have changed their season trajectory at this point. The Bengals, 3-3 on the road. That's something to note. They're 6-2 against the spread, and they have hit the over 8 out of 14 times. The average point total in Bengals games is 44.1. Pittsburgh's 4-4 at home. They're 7-7 against the spread. They've hit the over 4 of 14 games, and the average total score in their games are 35.9. It's pretty clear that the Pittsburgh defense has a chance to slow down the offense of the Bengals because they do have a pretty good pass rush ability. But their secondary is a little suspect. They don't have some starting safeties. Minkah Fitzpatrick's injury, DeMonte Casey's suspension after that hit against Michael Pittman. I know we didn't talk about that hit on the show, but Tom Brady had words to say about it. Maybe we'll include it in there. I know Pat McAfee talked about it yesterday. But yeah, so DeMonte Casey's suspension and Minkah Fitzpatrick, both of their starting safeties are out for Pittsburgh's defense. So it's going to come down to whether Jake Browning can look better than he did the first time around. And he's not even going to have Jamar Chase this time. And last time he struggled, he didn't have T. Higgins. So can he keep the offense humming without the best skill player, Jamar Chase, on that offense? I believe he can. But both teams have their negatives coming into this game. Both teams have their positives. And at the end of the day, it's a must-win for both. And only one can win. Unless they tie. And that would suck. I'm not going to get into the DeMonte Casey suspension thing because it's not even newsworthy anymore. It's just the thing. You know, he blasted Michael Pittman and is suspended. I don't think it was a dirty hit. I think part of it has to do with the throwing placement from Gardner Minshew to Michael Pittman. And he had to kind of do a Superman layout, and Casey just smacked him. So, but he's out, so that's going to hurt the Steelers' defense for sure. Let's move on to Buffalo and Los Angeles. Josh Allen can actually make history with 3 touchdowns against the Chargers tomorrow. You know, they've had some ups and downs this season. But one constant has been that Josh Allen finds his way into the end zone. He leads the NFL with 37 touchdowns. And if he can score 3 more on Saturday, tomorrow, against the Chargers at SoFi Stadium, he's going to become the first in NFL history to score at least 40 touchdowns in 4 consecutive seasons. And if he can score 8 in the final 3 games of the regular season, he's going to tie his career high mark from 2020. He scored 45 touchdowns in 2020 and 42 in both 2021 and 2022. This guy has been hot. He has been hot even when the Bills weren't always hot. He has been. He's thrown for 3,541 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. On the ground, he has run for 398 yards and 11 touchdowns. So again, altogether, that gives you his 37 scores. 26 in the air, 11 on the ground. That's a pretty nice thing. A quarterback who can do it both in the air and on the ground, scrambling ability, that makes him real special. The offense for the Bills has been criticized lately for being way too reliant on Allen to do everything. The tide has shifted in the last 2 games, however. Pretty interesting that Buffalo ran the ball the best it has on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. They ran for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 31-10 win over Dallas at Highmark Stadium. So the Bills look those critics in the eye and say, You want to see some versatility? Come watch a game. That running back, James Cook's a dog. 25 carries, 179 yards, and 1 touchdown. He had 2 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown. And that play earned him AFC Player of the Week against Dallas. He was the first Bills running back to earn that accolade since Travis Henry in 2002. That's got to be a propelling force of confidence for that run game. If the pass seems to be like Mayday, Mayday in SoFi Stadium tomorrow night, let's give it to Cook. That's versatility. That's what you need to make the playoffs. You need versatility. Sure, the emergence of the running game is big for them, but Josh Allen still needs to be at his best if they're going to sneak into the playoffs. If he is going to guide them into the playoffs for the 5th straight season, it's probably going to mean that he makes history along the way, and that's pretty special. He has certainly emerged as the best in the business, one of the best in the business. And it's a special thing because when you can take a team that has struggled this year and make them look good, it means you're pretty good. And when you can take a team and use your own legs to get that run game going, that's even better. And now James Cook is sparking out there. A little lightning strike of his own against the Chargers tomorrow night. That'd be pretty special for them. 5th straight season for them to make the playoffs. Obviously, they haven't had much success in the playoffs in the long run. But one game at a time. That's what we always say, right? One game at a time. And Josh Allen's been having fun, too. He's like a giddy, quirky guy who has fun. And that's what matters. I saw the video of him on that ATV or whatever it was. And he almost hit half the guys on the right side. He really reared that thing into the right and then had to bring the wheel all the way back around to the left to straighten it out. And the guys were going crazy. It was hilarious. He's having fun. And when you have fun, the games seem to be a little bit easier. The NFL is a grueling league. And 18 weeks of it, especially for a quarterback, with a lot of criticism from the Bills this year, it's tough. So to have fun, maybe it makes the team loosen up a little bit more, and their recent success on both sides of the ball, I could see the Bills run away with this one pretty quickly. Let's take a quick timeout. You're listening to The Gabby Gordon Show. We'll be back right after this quick break. Welcome back to The Gabby Gordon Show. Glad to have you in here. My name is Gabby Gordon. You guessed it. I don't even know what we talked about in the last segment. Usually I recap it when we get back from the break, but this one you're just going to have to rewind on your own. I'm all over the place. Christmas is in 3 days. Just congestion is just kicking me in the butt. I have been popping all my allergy medicine. I think it's the tree, honestly. My family insists on getting a real Christmas tree every single year. If it were up to me, and maybe you call me a little bit of a Grinch for that, I'd get a fake one. It's so much less of a hassle than to have to go out to these Christmas tree farms and pick out the perfect one, and then you gotta drag it in the house. First you gotta get it on the car. Then you gotta drag it in the house. Then you got the pines, the little pine needles of the tree everywhere on the floor, so you step on them. Then your hands smell like sap. You gotta water it, make sure it doesn't die. You gotta make sure it's all straight and proportional so it looks pretty in your house. I don't know if you rock with a fake tree or a real tree, but if it were up to me, I'd get the fake one. Keep it up in the attic, put it up right after Thanksgiving. There you go. Easy peasy, take it down right after the new year. That's how I would rock with it. I think the tree makes me, my allergies propel to some new level. Every single year I feel like I am congested around the same time, right before Christmas, and I think it's the tree. And every time I tell people it's the tree, they're like, no, it's not. You just got a virus. You just got a cold. Everybody's got a cold. Get over it. Fake trees are underrated. People say it's not as special as getting a real tree. I disagree. I think they're prettier than real trees because they're perfectly proportionate in that little triangle shape that you want. Perfect. You can get the perfect size for your living room or wherever you put that tree. I'm not this isn't a sponsored ad for fake Christmas trees from Home Depot or something like that. No, nothing like that. But if it were up to me, I'm going with the fake one. I know it's a tradition for many people to go pick out the perfect tree for their family. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. Clark Griswold takes the family out to the freaking forest to take his tree. to the house. So it's special for some people. I think when I move out, have my own family, one day, maybe the first couple of years of my children's Christmas experiences, we'll get the real tree, get them to experience a Christmas tree farm, put the angel on the top of the real Christmas tree, or the star. But after that, it's like, I'm not compromising my allergies just so I can say that I partook in the tradition. I don't think it's a tradition. I think it's a trend. And honestly, fake Christmas trees are on the rise. So, let me know after you listen to the episode. There's usually like a Q&A box that says, like, what did you think about today's episode? Don't answer that. Instead, answer, do you rock with the fake trees or the real ones? And why? I'd like to know why. And tell me, am I crazy, or do real Christmas trees mess with your allergies? I'd love to know. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about for the rest of the show. And then I remember coming across a tweet, right? Everything happens on Twitter with me. I am a broken record. I saw a tweet. I responded to a tweet. And now I'm going to share it with you. Because it gives me good content. No, but this one was really interesting, actually. Mina Kimes tweeted on December 19th. One area where Brock Purdy has improved a great deal as the season has progressed is on his third and longs. In the first 7 weeks of football, he had a QBR of 49 on third and long, 22nd in the league. There's only 32 teams in the league, so that's not pretty good. That's not good. The last couple weeks, 8 through 15, 93, third in the league. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have our MVP pretty much as a lock. I know I referenced the Pat McAfee show a hell of a lot on this show, but he makes some great points, and I'm listening to his show yesterday afternoon, and he was talking about Brock Purdy and that whole MVP race. A lot of times, a quarterback's success is on the receiver's yards after the catch, the yak, right? And I don't have the exact numbers that he used, but Brock Purdy is below the league average of his receiver's yards after the catch. That is a more propelling factor to the fact that this man, Mr. Irrelevant's going to be your MVP. And I am riding with the 49ers to win this entire thing. If there is any chance that they win an entire Super Bowl, hoist up that Lombardi trophy, it's got to be this season. I can't see them doing it with any other type of team. This is a dream team. Every single guy on that roster is playing at their best right now. And all the stars are playing at their best right now. And Brock Purdy is one of the best quarterbacks in the league that there is right now. And Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the league that there is right now. And they're all playing at their top abilities in their careers. If you can't win a Super Bowl with that team, you're never going to win a Super Bowl with any team that you put together in San Fran. People are comparing Purdy to the next Joe Montana with what he's done. And pretty big people, pretty popular people that know what they're talking about are comparing this kid to the next Joe Montana. That says a lot. All right, this Purdy kid. I'm not even saying this Purdy kid anymore because he's not just a Purdy kid. He is Brock Purdy. He is known. He is a stud. I think he's going to win MVP. I really do. This kid could win league MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and the Super Bowl. That would be a season to remember. Actually, it was Jerry Rice that said that Brock Purdy reminds him of Joe Montana. If I'm Purdy, I'm doing something right, because I don't think Jerry Rice is just throwing that statement out in the blue. I don't think he's just calling your modern-day good quarterback Joe Montana. That's pretty special stuff coming out of Jerry Rice. And a lot of it, of course, has to do with the team and the culture he's been put in. Kyle Shanahan is just a dog, and the team as a whole is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful talent. If you put Purdy on a team with no talent, does he have the same amount of success? Probably not, but that goes for everybody. If you put Josh Allen on the Jets right now, or you put Josh Allen on the Patriots, you need a good team to work with when you're a quarterback. If you have no weapons, if you have no guys with no talent and nothing, you're going to have a bad season. That's just common sense. Because you're not going to run the ball every single play. You'll get killed. So a lot of people say, well, Brock Purdy's just being carried by the team around him. That's not true. That's not true. And you want to know how it's not true? Because Yak, yards after catch, Yak, he's below average. Below average. He's doing it himself. Christian McCaffrey's a big part of that as well in the run game. But he's not relying on other players. He is doing it. He's making the people around him better. That's a special quarterback. That's an MVP. And I mentioned this yesterday, but all the 49ers have to do is win 2 out of 3 of their final games of this year to clinch everything. Get the first round bye, get home field advantage, all of it. They're playing on Christmas night against the Ravens at home. That's obviously the game of the year, so that could go either way. I still think they're going to win that game. I think they're the best team in the league. I'm going to keep sticking by that until someone else proves me wrong. If the Ravens come and smack them in their home stadium, that's obviously special. And then the Ravens start shouting that maybe it's their year instead. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the 49ers are going to win that game on Christmas. And then their next matchup's against the Commanders, December 31st. New Year's Eve. So I think they can win 2 out of the 3. And then at that point, they rest all their players week 18 against the Rams. Don't got to worry about it. Then you get the first round bye. So now you've got 2 weeks of rest for your starters and home field advantage going into the divisional round. That would be the best case scenario for them. And if they can't win a Super Bowl with that, they're never gonna. They have such a strong chance at taking this whole thing because they've put themselves in such a perfect position. Even if they don't win against the Ravens, they don't have to because they only need 2 out of 3. Commanders, that's going to be a lock. The Commanders are terrible. The Rams, I mean, it's a toss-up, I guess, but they're the better team. They're home. And then they would still, even if they don't sit their players on week 18 because they can't, because they're still playing for the first round bye, and they're still playing for the number 1 seed, they still get the week off when they get that. So they're putting themselves in a really great position to win this entire thing. I really think that it's their year. I really think it's their year. They've got guys playing at the best of their abilities right now. They've got a coach who is just a mastermind doing phenomenal things there for the team. They have a team culture being led by this young Mr. Irrelevant with a great story. A great story that he's putting together for himself. Obviously, we can't call him Joe Montana yet. He needs a couple of Super Bowls under his belt, but that's got to feel good if you're Brock Purdy. Jerry Rice saying that you remind him of Joe Montana, that's got to be a confidence booster no matter who you are. If you told me I'd throw like Joe Montana, I would never shut up about it. Purdy's a humble guy, and he deserves it. That entire team deserves it, and I really think it's their year. And I feel like a lot of people can just get behind the 49ers too. The 49ers, man, my nose is stuffed. These damn Christmas trees. I think that people can get behind the 49ers because, again, that whole Mr. Irrelevant story, last pick in the draft. He was a no-name, and now he is a big name. Christian McCaffrey is just a great personality as well. You can get behind him. You can get behind George Kittle. You can get behind Kyle Shanahan. Nick Bosa. You can get behind that entire team. That's why it's real special if they win it all. Because I can look at that and be like, they deserve that. Like, they deserve that. And that would make me feel good. That would make me feel good because I feel like a lot of the front runners, I can't say that about. I'm not going to look at the Eagles and say, whoop-de-doo, they won the whole thing. I'm not going to look at the Dolphins. And, well, I'd be happy if the Dolphins won. I like their story. I can't look at the Cowboys and say, whoop-de-doo, they won it. I don't really like the Ravens. I'm not a huge fan of Lamar. So for the 49ers to come in there and win it all, it would make me feel good. I know it doesn't matter how I feel. At the end of the day, it's how they can produce in the playoffs. But they're setting themselves up for success, so any time to do it, it's now. All right, with that, we are going to conclude today's show. Happy Fun Friday. I am not going to see you again until after Christmas. So with that being said, happy holidays to those who celebrate. I'll see you the Tuesday after Christmas, December 26th, 2023. So I am going to obviously enjoy the day with my family on Christmas. I'll let you know if the whole family made it to the Christmas Eve party or if one of us got sick. It's probably going to be me, if anybody. So I'll let you know how that goes. And please tell me if you get a fake tree or a real tree. I'm actually very curious about that because I feel like the real trees are just dying out. I feel like fake trees are the trend. Anyways, happy holidays to all who celebrate. Have a wonderful Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. And I will catch you on Tuesday's show, December 26th. As always, you've been listening to The Gabby Gordon Show. My name is Gabby Gordon. Incredibly blessed this holiday season to have you listening here with me today. Have a good one.